The SEC chairman just confirmed what XRP holders have been saying for years. All US markets are going on-chain within 2 years. You must watch this.
Tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on chain to be able to that represent, say, an underlying security. And so then that tokenized security is a security and would be subject to SEC rules by law. But the idea is that if it's on chain, on a blockchain, then there's much more transparency as to where it is. Right now, there's a bit of opacity as to who owns what and where the company usually doesn't even know where its who its shareholders are and where the shareholders reside, where the shares reside. So tokenization has the benefit of potentially having, instead of T+1 now trade date +1 for clearance and settlement, the prospect of maybe T0. Now, depending on the instrument, and we have to think about netting and all sorts of other things with respect to some instruments. But in principle, the idea of on-chain delivery versus payment and receipt versus payment, DVP, RVP on-chain, is a prospect of de-risking the markets, making them much more transparent and then sure as far as clearance and settlement, because it's always that the gap between clearance and settlement and then delivery and payment is the real introduces risk into the system.
Do you expect this is where financial services is going? Are the major banks and the brokers out there today moving increasingly toward tokenization?
Oh, absolutely. And it's the way the world will be, here in maybe not even in 10 years, maybe even a lot less time, maybe a couple of years from now. So I think that all of this modernization of the markets, I think, is good. And the trouble that we've seen here over the past few years is that the SEC, unlike historically, it never was necessarily at the vanguard of pushing new innovations. It was always a little bit behind the market, of course. But here recently, it's been almost standing athwart the marketplace, and as it's as all these new innovations were coming about. So that's no more. We're actually embracing it, and I believe that we need to be embracing it to keep the United States at the forefront. As far as cryptocurrencies and whatnot, there were really only 2 countries in the world here in the last few years that were working to make cryptocurrencies illegal, and that was Communist China and the U.S. through the SEC. So that's changed. It's a new day now, and so we want to embrace this new technology.
The XRP ledger can tokenize anything of value, including precious metals, US stocks, you name it. Everything of value can be tokenized on-chain on the XRP ledger. What do you think are the logical choices for financial institutions? They don't want high transaction fees. They want a blockchain that can deliver faster finality than Bitcoin itself. They need a battle-tested and energy-efficient blockchain that can deliver fast finality. BTC can't be the one. It's just too slow, archaic, and doesn't scale. Do you really think the institutional choice will be Ethereum? With its high gas fees and inefficiency, there is only a handful of blockchains that can deliver fast finality and be home to tokenization of real-world assets. When I think of great technical capabilities, the first one that comes in mind is, of course, the XRP ledger, but the future is interoperability. So there's not only going to be one blockchain to rule them all. Stellar, Algorand, XDC, and a few other blockchains have already been chosen by financial institutions. The future lives on-chain. Now let's see what David Schwartz has to say about real-world asset tokenization.
I think if someone can't explain something in 60 seconds, they probably don't understand it. I'm David Schwartz, and this is Crypto in a Minute. Tokenization can improve efficiency by eliminating some of the problems with asset transfer and ownership. If you've ever bought a house, you know that it's very complicated to determine who owns a house. There's a lot of paperwork involved with the sale, recording the sale. There's a risk of fraud in the delivery of the payment and, of course, in being able to prove ownership of the asset. Tokenization can eliminate all those problems by using digital distributed ledgers to track the ownership of assets. That also simplifies things like if you want to borrow against an asset, use the asset for collateral, the person who's providing you the loan can more easily determine that you own the asset, and they can make sure that you aren't borrowing from a number of different lenders. Boom. Didn't even take a minute.
And here is what everyone's missing out. The XRP ledger is not only about cross-border payments. When we say markets going on-chain, we are talking about stocks, bonds, treasuries, derivatives, real estate settlement system assets worth hundreds of trillions of dollars globally. Today, those markets are slow, fragmented, and locked behind legacy rails that take days to settle. Putting those assets on-chain means instant settlements. It removes the friction of the financial system with 24/7 liquidity, global access, and programmable money. And the moment settlement, liquidity, and cross-border value moves on-chain, trillions of dollars have to flow through the rails that connect institutions. That's exactly where assets like XRP play a pivotal role. Unlike most digital assets in the crypto space, XRP's nature has nothing to do with speculation. XRP is positioning itself as the base layer of global infrastructure on-chain. BTC is an outdated technology, Ethereum has extremely high gas fees, Solana halts down every week. There is no better choice than the XRP ledger to host trillions of dollars in tokenized assets.
I think, anytime there's a new market, there's a lot of people that run into that market and try to show that they can solve a problem, they can deliver a customer need. I have said publicly before that I think 99% of all crypto probably goes to zero. But there is that 1% where I think that is focused on solving a real problem for real customers and is able to do that at scale. And that's going to be game changing. And I think that's going to continue to grow significantly in the decades ahead.
And this is exactly why tokenization of real world assets excites me so much. This can indeed be the greatest trigger for XRP price appreciation in the next 2 years. And this is exactly why trillions move quietly. While everyone's distracted with BTC and meme coins, XRP is being positioned as the base layer for global infrastructure. So let me know in the comments if you are bullish on XRP for 2026. And if you want to trade crypto without KYC, get access to derivatives market. You're gonna find a link in the description of this video. That's Bitunix, the new exchange partner of this channel. You can buy spot XRP, send to a cold wallet, withdraw up to $500,000 per day without KYC. And if you made this to the end, drop a comment. I want to know who are the real ones. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna see you in the next video.